Good afternoon, all. So, today's topic is collective bargaining for the BSc 4th year class under the subject nursing management. So, talking about the collective bargaining is a kind of a process of the negotiation between the employers and the representative of the unit of employees. Mean there will be a kind of settlement and agreement between the higher authorities and the lower authorities. Lower authority mean the laborers, and they are aimed to reach to a kind of a agreement or the settlement which regulate the smooth working in an organization. So here, collective bargaining involves the discussion and the negotiation between two groups as to the term and the condition of the employment. So, collective bargaining can be done for the agreement, and it usually within an organization is to just set out the wage scale, and sometime for the working hours, for the training purpose, health or safety related issues, overtime grievances mechanisms, and right of the participants at the workplace and the company affair. That can be the issues on which the collective bargaining negotiation or the kind of agreement meeting can be done between the two parties. Next is collective bargaining is also known as the collective bargaining agreement or as a collective employment agreement. ठीक है, the union may negotiate with the single employer, means जो हमारे laborers है they can negotiate with the employers or may negotiate with the federation of the businesses depending on the country to reach an industrial wide agreements. So here the two party, those who are just opposing each other, their representative come in the forward, they will keep their points related to a particular issue and they will come to a settlement or for the resolution of that issue, and there will be a formation of agreement that is effective and profitable for both the parties. Either there can be a loss for one party or profit for the other party, depends on the kind of a negotiation that has been taken place between the two parties. First is next we'll talk about the history of the collective bargaining. So the collective bargaining was first used by Beatrix Babb in 1891, who is the founder of the industrial field relations in Britain. It referred to a sort of collective negotiation and agreement that has existed. The concept of collective bargaining was introduced very late in India as trade unions were formed only in 1962. So firstly we'll go with the collective bargaining definition. Collective bargaining is the practice of bargaining with reference to the wages, works, practices and other benefit by the employees in a collective group with the management. Or can say collective bargaining is a process in which the representative of the labor organizations and the representative of the business organization, laborers के representative and the business organization मतलब employers representative gonna meet together and attempt to negotiate a contract or agreement, and this definition was given by Edwin Flippo. Talking about the objectives of the collective bargaining, why collective bargaining is being to be done. First is to provide an opportunity to the workers to voice, means it provide a kind of a opportunity or the stage, means kind of a stage to the workers or the laborer where they can talk about or raise their voice related to the demands, related to issue what they are facing at the working environment, related to the working condition and related to the wages, related to their health, mean where they are getting a kind of stage to exhibit or to show their issues to the higher authorities. So it is providing a kind of opportunities to the workers. Next is to reaching a solution that is acceptable. So by the negotiation, I told you when collective bargaining meeting is taking place between the two groups, there is a kind of resolution or solution of any issue that has been occurring in an organization and that is hindering the work in the environment, work in the organization. So the both companies, both the parties, when sitting together to talk about kind of a issue, they will gonna settle it, they will gonna get into a point which is effective for both the parties, either for the higher management or for the lower management. Next is to maintain the cordial relationship. When if there is the kind of a settled formal format for the negotiation or the agreement between the laborer and the higher authorities, there are more chances of having the cordial relation between the two parties. Instead of, if it is like kind in an organization, the higher authorities, the employer are not bothering about their laborers and the laborer are trying to talk about or speak out their things to the higher management, and there is no kind of a meeting, so that gonna cause any different kind of a hustle between two parties. The laborer will get uh, might be offended with that thing, might take another actions like strike can be done by them. So if meetings are properly organized, arranged, and there will be a solution for that issues what they are talking about, there will be a cordial relationship, effective relationship between the employers and the employee, that ultimately gonna improve the working quality in an organization. Next is to promote the democracy. Means here the laborers are free or willing to speak about their issues to the higher authorities. There is no kind of bondage for them. They can't speak about their issues, they can't speak about what they want, kind of a change in the organization or anything, or to prevent the unilateral action of the employer to the employees. Mean if there will be a proper negotiation, there is proper channeling between the laborer and the employers, there are less chances of a unilateral or unidirectional command. Mean there will not be only commanding from the higher authority to the laborers that they have to work as the laborers, just as a laborer they don't have any right. No, if there will be a collective bargaining, both the laborer group and the employer group have the abilities or have the democracy to speak out about them, their issues, how they gonna resolve it, and there will be no kind of a uni commanding in the organization. Next is to prevent the strike and enhance the productivity. Told you, if there is any kind of issue between the laborer and the employer, if it got resolved in the agreement, in the negotiation process, there are no chance. I mean, higher authority is listening to them, they are trying to resolve honestly their issues, so the laborer will be satisfied with that thing. There will be no chances of the strike in that group, and enhance the productivity. Obviously no strike means increasing the working hour, increasing the working hand, and ultimately there will be increase in the productivity of the organization, that ultimately enhances the growth of the organization in the market. Next is to resolve and prevent all conflict and disputes. Told you, if there will be a proper formal negotiation between two parties, there are chances to prevent inner conflict or the external conflict between the two parties, and they will reach to a mutually agreeable thing or agreeable manner. May they will come to a kind of resolution. Mean something can be negotiated, means uh, okay, we'll fine with this thing, the employer will also say we are fine with this thing, and they will come to and they will reach to a conclusion where they're at beneficial for the organization only. Might be loss for the employer, might be loss for the employees, but it collectively gonna give the improvement in the organizational growth. Next is to develop a conducting environment. So to develop a conducting environment means the working environment will be soothed and there will be a smooth work going on in the organization. Next is to provide stable and peaceful organization. That's all the objectives. Next we'll discuss about the principles. What are the principles of the collective bargaining? So the union leaders opportunity to present to the management desires, explain the union leader employs the economic problem confronted with, must be honest attempt at the solving a problem. mean both the parties, the representatives should be honest, mean they are trying their hard level best to resolve the issue, instead of just showing out we are working on it, we are working on it, someday we're gonna work out over it, we're gonna resolve it. No, it should not be like this. There should be honest attempt, there should be true attempt, means they are working actually over the issue and they gonna resolve it. That should be there, then only the conflicts can be prevented in the organization. Next is both parties should respect each other, mean there should be respect for each other's. The laborer should respect the higher authorities, the higher authorities should respect the rights of the laborers, so that there should be a harmony between the groups and they are able to understand the situation of each other. Next is there must be a mutual confidence, faith and desire to make collective bargaining effective in the practice. Means there should be a confidence, the both the parties should be able to have that kind of a confidence that ultimately they will resolve the issue, ultimately they will gonna hype high up the organization, there will be benefit for sure. Next is there should be honest and responsible leadership. Okay, told you in the collective bargaining, the representative of both the groups come together, come sit on the bargaining table and do negotiate over an issue. So both the leaders or both the representative of both the groups should be responsible for what they are here and what are their responsibility and how they have to deal up with the meeting and the bargaining. They should be aware of their rights, even the responsibilities and the authorities even. Next are two parties should observe and abide by the national and the state laws. Whenever the meeting or the collective bargaining is going to take place in an organization between the employer and the employees, there should be a complete following of the nation and the state laws related to the collective bargaining and to the trade unions. Mean there should be complete lawful activities should be taken place in the meeting and they should reach to the negotiation or the agreement that is socially and lawfully acceptable. Next are the legal laws and the acts that are related to the collective bargaining are the Factory Act. The Factory Act 1948 provides for the health, safety, welfare and the other aspects of worker while at the work in the factories. So that's in the Factory Act. Next is Employees Provident and Miscellaneous Provision Act. Maternity Benefit Act and Payment of the Gratuity Act apply to all the establishments with 10 or more workers. Next is Industrial Dispute Act 1947, lay down the procedures for the settlement of the industrial dispute. Although it is not of importance to you all people in being in the BSc 4th year, but still these are the laws that are related to the negotiation and agreement within the industrial fields or industrial areas. There is a Trade Union Act of India 1926 which was amended in 2001, and subsequent to the amendment it became more difficult to form the trade unions. In the Act of 1926 only the 7 members were required to register in the trade union, but after the amendment at least 10% of the 100 members, whichever is less, subject to a minimum of 7 workers engaged or 10 employed in the establishment are required to be the member of the union prior to its registration. Collective bargaining is limited within the scope provided in the Industrial Disputes Act 1947. Now we're going to discuss about the factors leading to the collective bargaining. So what are the reasons, what are the issues that can result in the collective bargaining between the two authorities? Firstly, I told you in the very beginning that it can be related to the workplace, related to the working hour, related to the wages of, the salary related issues, training related issue, health and safety issues, overtime, grievances of the members, participation, company affairs, all can be the issues for the collective bargaining. Let's discuss one by one. For the job security, okay, for the job security, there should be collective bargaining. So there should be a kind of security related to the job among the laborers. So there should be a formation of kind of protocol or kind of guidelines or the responsibilities, means there should be a kind of a paperwork which show the security of the job for the laborers, those who are working in the organization. And same at the point, there should be some protocols that have the authority or that have the ability of the organization to make them out of the work if they are not working according to those protocol in an organization. So these are the collective bargaining wala aspect related to the job security. Both the parties, the laborer have to fulfill the responsibilities that are being provided with in the organization, and the organization employer, they have the authorities if they are not reaching to the, if they are not able to get the kind of responsibilities that are provided to the laborer, they are working according to it or not. Next is improved wages for the related to the salary. If the employer or the laborer are not satisfied the money they are getting from the work or working for that long and not enough money they are getting, so there is a kind of a settlement within the organization, either to reduce down the working hour, either to raise the wages. So it can be a kind of a negotiation between the two authorities, sorry, two groups or the two parties. Next is better benefits. So better benefits can be related to health issue, housing facility, checkup can be there, transport facilities related to all can be the better benefit. Next, in response to the poor working condition, if the laborer are not satisfied or not getting the proper kind of a working environment, they can result in the negotiation or can think for the collective bargaining with their employers. Next is unequal treatment. If there is a kind of unequal treatment among the laborers, so they can think for the collective bargaining even. Next is limited opportunities for advancement. Limited opportunity for advancement mean if there is not job appraisal, mean those laborers, they are working so hard, they are giving their 100%, they are giving their more than 100% even in the organization, still they are got stuck in a particular position, they are not get acknowledged, they are not getting more wages, they are not getting promoted from one post to the another post. So these are the kind of opportunities on which they can talk to the employers that they are working from that long, they need that kind of things, so they can do negotiate with the employers. Lack of recognition. If the worker are working hard, still they are not getting recognized in the organization, they can go for their identity even in an organization under the collective bargaining process. Next are work rules and procedures. If even the employer or the employee are not satisfied with the given provided rules and procedure that are being followed in an organization for the productivity and for the work, so they can come forward and talk about the rule if they want to bring any kind of a change. And if the laborer are not happy with the rule, they are so rigid, they are means kind of so harsh, so they can talk about it to the employer, they have the right for it. Next, we'll talk about the characteristic of the collective bargaining. So collective bargaining is a collective approach. Collective approach means it is the two-party approach where the two-party person, the two-party representative will gonna sit on the negotiating table where they deliberately persuade and try to reach to an agreement to a particular kind of conflict or issue that is going on in an organization. So it is a collective approach. Next is strength. There should be strength in the collective bargaining, means the issue what has been selected for the negotiation wala process, it should be that strengthened, that strong, that it can reach to, or it have that much of ability to reach to a agreement, and it should be of importance in an organization. Next is voluntary. Collective bargaining is voluntary process. No one can make other to persuade or to get into a collective process until or unless he is willing to get into it. Mean only those who are willing, they can proceed in the collective process. No one can forcefully make the next person to get into the collective bargaining process. Next is the formal process. Collective bargaining is a completely formal process where there are the certain stages, there are certain phases that has to be followed to reach to the agreement or to the resolution of any issue in an organization. So there is the certain step or a sequence of the phases that has to be followed by both the parties representative. Then after following those steps that we're gonna study later on, they will get into a ultimate conclusion that will result in the benefit of the organization. So it is a formal process, it is an official one. Next is flexible. It is not like that collective bargaining is completely rigid, it is fixed that this thing to be happen, to this to be happen after this only. No, there can be a subtle changes in the process, there can be change in, or there can be change in the plan of the collective bargaining, there can be change in the process, even there can be a kind of flexibility in the whole process. It can be according to the comfort of both the employer and the employee. Next is improvement. Collective bargaining is only done to reach to the improvement for the organization, for the employer, or for the employee even. So ultimate what we are getting to find out of the collective bargaining is just as the benefit or the improvement in an organization wholly. Next is representation. Both told you ki both the parties, employer and employees, they have their representative who have the leadership quality, who are taking the responsibility for both the group. They will come together and sit on the negotiating table. So both the group have their representative to talk about a particular issue. Next are the dynamic. It is changeable. Okay, change with the time will is required in the collective bargaining. Continuous process. In an organization where the men are working, or when there is talk about the man, money and the material, it is of a mandatory that the collective bargaining goes continuously. There are various issues that keep going in an organization. So the collective bargaining is a continuous process. On various issues, collective bargaining may used to go on simultaneously. Next is bipartial process. Bipartial told you that the two parties will come together and negotiate. Means one party cannot negotiate within itself, so there is requirement of the two person or the two opposed to be opposite to each other to negotiate or to reach to a agreement. So next are the issue leading to the collective bargaining. Absence of the procedure for reporting unsafe or a poor patient care in the number of issues. So talking about the nursing, when there are absence of procedures for reporting unsafe and the poor patient care, mean if the nursing department don't have the proper recording and a reporting for the unsafe and a poor patient care is there, and there is no proper procedure to report that thing, we can talk about or we can go for the collective bargaining with the nursing administration on this topic. Next is short staffing and improper skills. If there are the short staff, means there is less number of the faculty, less number of the nursing officers, and there are no proper skills, and there is no improvement, no updation of the skills in the organization. So these are the topic for the discussion between the two parties. It can also include floating without orientation and training, use of the temporary personnel and unlicensed assistive personnel, lack of respect for the employees, lack of autonomy for the workers, lack of promotional opportunities, lack of professional practice committees, lack of staff development and continuing educational opportunities. So these are the areas where we can talk about collective bargaining in the nursing profession. include lack of involvement of the nursing officers in research or related to other areas, low wages and limited benefit to the nursing officers or to the nursing faculties, no pension portability to the nursing officer, to the nursing personals. Next is poor on call arrangements and lack of flexibility in schedules can be the issue. Overwork, mandatory overtime, and the shift rotation, low morale, performance of the non nursing duties, poor management and communication between the nursing officer, higher authorities, and intradepartmental or interdepartmental, no ability to take the sufficient break, lack of career leaders. So, these can be the issues. Next are the prerequisite for the collective bargaining. So, prerequisite for the collective bargaining are trade union recognition, observance of agreements, support of the labor administration, good faith, proper internal communication should be there. So, talking about the type of the collective bargaining. So, collective bargaining is of individual bargaining or the collective bargaining. So, if talking about the individual bargaining, it is for the own, means for the self, bargain for yourself only. And if it is about the collective bargaining where you are taking all the laborers together and fighting together for a particular issue, that is the collective bargaining. So type of a collective bargaining are conjunctive or the distributive bargaining. So conjunctive bargaining is, for example, union negotiate for the maximum wages and the management want to yield as little as possible while getting things done to workers. So conjugative or the distributive bargaining is like both the parties gonna have the uh, means either one of the party gonna have the loss and one gonna be in the profit after the negotiation. Next is the cooperative and integrative bargaining. It involves the negotiation of an issue on which both the party may gain or at least neither party lose. Matlab, the negotiation and the agreement will be at that point when both the parties gonna get the gonna benefit or profit from the negotiation. For example, the representative of the employers and the employees side may bargain over the better training program or a better job evaluation methods. Here both the parties are trying to make more of something. In general, it tends to be more cooperative than distributive bargaining. This type of bargaining is also called as a cooperative bargaining. Then next is productivity bargaining, where the focus will be on the increase in the productivity. Next is the composite bargaining. So composite bargaining, it in which there will be loss to the both the parties. It can be in like both the parties can be in the loss after the collective bargaining. So mainly two type of collective bargaining is of importance, that is integrative bargaining where both the parties gonna get the gain or got to gonna have the profit of the negotiation. And next is the attitudinal or the restructuring, where some like involving shaping and reshaping some attitude like trusting or distrusting, friendliness or honestly between the labor and management when there is backlog of bitterness between both the parties. It develop a bargaining environment and create trust and cooperation among the parties. ठीक है, और नेक्स्ट आता है हमारा इंट्रा ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल bargaining. Even intra organizational bargaining, it is aimed to resolve the internal conflict. This is a type of maneuvering to achieve consensus with the worker and the management. Even within the union there are differences between the group. Okay, for example, skilled worker may feel that they are neglected or women worker may feel that their interests are not looked after properly. Within the management also there may be differences, so it will be resolving internal conflict of a single party. So that were the types. Next are the applications to the nursing. So nurses should be aware of and clarify their values regarding the collective bargaining and the strike when choosing a workplace. Nurses should also need to protect themselves from unfair management practices. Nurses working in a healthcare organization with a collective bargaining agreement should obtain a copy of the collective bargaining contract which specifies conditions of employment such as salaries, workload, fringe benefits and advancement of the opportunities, as well as specific process or the procedure for filing the grievance regarding the various issues. Collective bargaining contracts establish the nurse practice communities which allow employees to become involved in a healthcare decisions. The nurse managers should review the past positions taken by both the union and the management contract negotiation grievances and decisions to the strike. This information can help the nurse manager identify and address key issues before they become problematic. In a healthcare organization that displays minimal concern for the employee satisfaction, a nurse leader may become instrumental in the lobbying for a collective bargaining agreement. Now we will discuss about the process of collective bargaining. So there are certain phases that are being followed for the collective bargaining process, and these phases are like first is preparatory phase. In preparatory phase, what will gonna happen? There will be formulation of the means two parties are there. There will be finding out of the representative, finding out the issue on which they gonna talk. Mean issue is there, then we will gonna get up with the particular weighted issue that is of a more importance, and we will prepare on that issue what the issue is and what are the needs we want to talk about in the collective bargaining. Next is discussion phase. In discussion phase, what happened? There is the discussion within the groups. Within the group means everyone wanna give their viewpoint points related to that issue. Next is proposal phase. In the proposal phase, the party gonna give their proposal for the collective bargaining to the next party. For example, laborer had decided to talk about this salary to the employers. So firstly they'll prepare कि we have to talk for the salary to the employer, we want to get any kind of a hike in our salary, so they'll prepare. Then they will formulate or they will choose out their representative. तो वहाँ से representative will gonna get into the front, and then representative and other group member gonna get with the discussion over the salary wala topic. Then after they had given, means they had prepared, they had the discussion, they had formulated a kind of a letter or an application where they had fixed the issue what it is and what they wanted in that, and they will give it in the proposal to the employers. Now the employers know that there is the need of a collective bargaining for the laborers from the laborer side, and they want a kind of a negotiation and a meeting with them. So next is the bargaining. Both the team members will gonna get on the table where they gonna do negotiation over the selected issue. Then after the negotiation, after the complete discussion, after the argument, after whatever they are doing to get to the point, they gonna give a settlemental phase. There will be a settlement between two parties, means they will come to a solution that is effective either for the employer or for the employees or for the both or none of them. Okay, that will depends. So settlement phase, there will be a settlement and there will be a agreement. Next is formalizing the agreement. Settlement हो गया है, there will be a legal proceeding, there will be a formalization of the agreement, then enforcing the agreement. Though agreement has been formulated, now it get enforced, it get into the practice. Now it will be practiced. Means if they had talked about the wages bargaining हुआ, both the parties sat together on the table and they said for the salary, and from that side they said for the effective work or to improve the productivity. So both have given their point. Okay, we'll improve your salary, you improve your working skills, or improve the productivity or increase the productivity. They said, okay, we'll increase the productivity, please increase our salary. So at the end they came to the settlement that the productivity will be increased. Okay, they're gonna increase the working hour, they're gonna increase the salary. That is the settlement. Then they formulate the agreement that the each person gonna work for that much hours per day, that much of the vacation in the month, and that is the salary. That is formulated. Next it will be enforced. Now means that will come into the practice. So that is the process. Obstacles can be registered nurse who participate in organizing drives could be summarily fired. Okay, no, it is not, because there are the law and you have the right to get into the union of the nurses, and where you can go for the collective bargaining process. And if only the collective bargaining is not appropriate, or you are not getting to the point what you want, then only or only there are certain protocols you have to follow to go for the strike. No one can go for the strike unwantedly or unnecessarily. Like it's not as same as shown in the movies ki their demands are not fulfilled, they will go for the strike. No, it is not like. There is a certain process that you have to follow before going for a strike for a particular reason. Next is hospital could refuse to recognize and bargain with nursing organization. It sometimes happens. The association spend years softening up the trough. Again means putting the date on a date for the next date, and they are not resolving the issue. It can be a issue. Importance to the society is like the discrimination and exploitation of the worker is constantly being checked. Means they know. It provide a method or the regulation of the conditions of employment of those who are directly concerned about them. Importance to the employer of the collective bargaining is that it tend to promote the sense of job security among the employees, and thereby tend to reduce the cost of labor tenure to management. Collective bargaining open up the channel of communication between the worker and the management, and increases workers' participation in decision making. Collective bargaining play a vital role in settling and preventing industrial disputes. And the importance for employees are, it increases the strength of the workers, thereby increases their bargaining capacities as a group, increase the morale and productivity of employees. It restricts the management's freedom for arbitrary action against the employees. The workers feel motivated as they can approach the management on various matters and bargain for higher benefit. It helps in securing a prompt and fair settlement of grievances. It provides a flexible. So that was today's topic. We had discussed about the collective bargaining, then studied about the characteristics, its type and its importance, and the phases of the collective bargaining that take place in an organization. So that's all today's topic.